Welcome to episode 153 of Rebirth Revolution. My name is Melissa Olson. We are all here in this school that we call Earth to get better. We are all here to grow ourselves spiritually to where the attributes of honesty, integrity, empathy, and humility are our way of life. We are here to strip away everything that is not love. I don't need to tell you how difficult a journey that is on a day-to-day basis. There is so much in our internal wiring that we must fight against to reach those lofty ideals. We get it wrong much of the time. The newer souls get it wrong the most. Those who have been through a few lifetimes are moving closer to achieving the goal, while those who have been here many times get the closest. It would be an exceptional soul that could master the curriculum in their first or second go-around. Pace yourself. You are not expected to get it all figured out right away. This is definitely a marathon. The range of the ways that we get it wrong go from small little slips where we disappoint ourselves to horrendous choices that affect many other people. All of it is predictably human. We will veer off course, and others will veer off course in ways that affect us. So what needs to happen when we get it wrong? We need to be held accountable. The reason for this is that once we start doing wrong things, we tend to just keep getting more and more wrong until we are stopped. If there is no accountability, the wrong way appears to have a payoff that keeps you headed down that path. Humans tend to do whatever is tolerated by others and whatever meets their immediate needs. When we have wronged other people, they have the choice of either pointing that out to us and asking that we do better, or they can just fall away, choosing to no longer deal with us and our unfortunate choices. That is completely fair. The falling away is, in essence, the accountability. No one is required to stay engaged with someone who is exhibiting toxic behaviors. This is true of any two people who are on an equal footing. It excludes those in a parent-child relationship, at least until the child is grown. No one is required to suffer the consequences of other people's bad choices. You are always entitled to protect your own peace and do whatever is needed to stay on your own right track. If someone comes to you with information about how you have wronged them, you get to take that information in and decide what you want to do with it. If you have done harm to them, it is always a gift to be able to remedy that and use the event to further improve your spiritual tool set. If someone is pointing out a gap in your awareness, you are fortunate to be able to see something that you missed. We all have blind spots. While this may at first feel like a time to become defensive, it is never a good idea to argue for your limitations. You may not see it the way it is being shown to you, but give it time to settle in. Do not ever think that you are done when it comes to knowing what you need to know or seeing what you need to see. Maybe one of our biggest challenges is staying aware of the fact that we don't know what we don't know. We are beings who are constantly evolving. That is our natural state. We are here to take in all the stimuli of this world and use it to grow into the fullest expressions of ourselves possible. No one has figured out how to do that without being wrong along the way, and no one gets to go through life without being wronged by others. The times you are wronged are also points of enlightenment and are to be appreciated as such. It's messy being human. Just like each and every human needs to have their gaps in awareness pointed out to them, so does our community and our country. We need to stay aware that we are ever evolving and that this can be messy and uncomfortable business. But it is what we're here to do. There has never been a point in time in this country when we were getting everything right. That is why it is pure folly to wish that we could go back to the way it used to be. It never was what it could potentially be. The times that some people thought were the greatest of all were times when women and people of color had absolutely no power or agency. These were times when you could be actively cruel and everyone thought it was okay. A white man could murder people and a jury would find him not guilty because in their minds the rights of anyone other than that white man didn't count. Our complete and true history chronicles everything that wasn't what it should have been, which is important to understand. We need to see what we did wrong, and we need to see where we have gotten better. We cannot fill any gap in awareness if we cannot see it, no matter how uncomfortable that makes us. The only reasons to whitewash and eliminate chunks of our history are to avoid accountability and to keep people from recognizing the toxic patterns of the past that are swirling up around us right now. There are patterns and there are knowable outcomes. The only way to keep us from stopping those who would drag us backwards is to stay aware of what has already happened. Those who are currently in this school have the honor and horror of knowing way too much about what is happening. We know everything that is going on in every place it is happening, and we know about it all the time. No previous generations have had to juggle all this information along with all the opinions about these happenings each and every day. It is overwhelming, but it is also a chance for accelerated growth. We now have the opportunity to see all of the inequalities and injustices. As the zone is flooded each day with all of the examples, it is impossible to miss the fact that we have two very different levels of justice and accountability. Those without power can do nothing more than walk into a convenience store and take something to eat, and they're going to land in jail, where they will remain since they don't have the money or power to bail themselves out. They will stay there up until they have their case adjudicated, which can take a very long time. On the other end of the spectrum, you have one of the most powerful people, an ex-president, who, no matter how many laws he breaks, he has faced virtually no accountability. He has led a life of conning and duping people, breaking law after law, and has never been held accountable for any of it. He can continue to lie to everyone about everything. But you can say anything you want outside of a courtroom where you are not under oath. You can talk all the nonsense that you want. The times when he has been under oath and subject to the penalties of perjury, he just pleads the fifth, refusing to incriminate himself. Once he is back outside the courthouse, he continues the nonsense. I've personally lost faith that he will ever face accountability in this lifetime, but I know that no one gets away with anything. He will face it at some point, and he will deal with the karma that he has created. It would do my heart good to see justice prevail, though I know it wouldn't change anything that his cult members believe. It is a grave danger to our democracy when those who are attempting to destroy it are not held accountable for their actions. It won't be enough for the little guys to face consequences for attempting a coup. That won't have any effect on future attempts, other than to prove that there is little to no risk in trying to overthrow the government. When you don't point out that someone is doing something wrong, they just keep doing wrong things and cook up even worse things to do, since there is nothing stopping them. We are all growing individually and collectively, and we need to be the guardrails for each other so that we don't go off in some dark, toxic direction. It is not ever assured that we will grow in the right direction. We have free will and can use that to get worse and to make everything else worse, or we can make a turn for the better. Either outcome is possible. As we see around us, there are those who are super pumped up about making the world less safe and much more brutal in every way possible. We need to make sure that there are more of us who are committed to making it safer, more just, and a more inclusive world. We also need to decide whether or not we want to live in a democracy and adhere to the rule of law. Not everyone is in favor of that option. They don't want everyone to have a say in the direction we head. There are many who would prefer that we live in a theocracy where we are all ruled by their distorted version of a religion. And then there are others who would prefer that we live under the heel of a fascist dictator. All of these outcomes are still possible. In our past, we have all had ancestors who had to make these decisions and fight to uphold these decisions. There is no reason why our generations should not have the same challenge while we are here on this planet. There are no rights or privileges that are granted to us without someone trying to take them away. That is when we have to decide if those rights mean something to us and if we're willing to fight for them. I grew up in a time when women did not have bodily autonomy, let alone any other form of autonomy, and then those rights were granted. Now, bodily autonomy has been taken away, and surely other freedoms we currently enjoy are also on the chopping block. I have to decide if I'm okay with that. Spoiler alert, I'm not. We will have to fight for our own rights and for those who will come after us until it is their turn to do the same. It's even messier to be a human who has to share this planet with other humans. Thanks for returning for another week of Rebirth Revolution. Rebirth Revolution can be found on all the podcast apps, the music apps, and full episodes play on our YouTube and Facebook pages. You can find all episodes on rebirthrevolution.com. Please download, rate, and review whenever you can. Until next week, think about what you have learned when you were wrong. We rarely learn anything when we are right. Think about what you have learned from the wrongs of others. Stick with your COVID precautions and fight for the rights that matter to you. Remember, you are loved exactly as much as every other person on the planet, not 1 ounce more or 1 ounce less. Stay strong and safe and involved.